Christmas time. I am in a hurry. I want to hurry up and get all these desserts, all these appetizers, all these dinners done, all the things that I need to do for Christmas time. So today I wanted to share with you some 3 ingredient desserts that I know you guys are gonna love. Let's get started. To get us started, we're going to be making these Oreo balls. So to a medium bowl, I'm going to go ahead and crush up all of these Oreos. You can put them in like a Ziploc bag to crush them up, or you can use some type of blender. I just had like this Ninja blender and just crushed them up that way. We're going to need 1 block of cream cheese, and you're just going to use an electric mixer, and you're going to get this well combined, and it will take probably about 5 minutes to get that well combined, and it'll be kind of clumpy, and then you should be able to use your hands to kind of clump them a little bit better together and make them into balls. So you'll see me here just kind of rolling them out, and I did about 2 to 3 tablespoon balls each. You can kind of do smaller, you can do bigger. It really just kind of depends on how big of truffles that you're wanting to make. So I used up all of the dough that I had, and I made about 30 different balls, and I'm actually going to throw these in the freezer for at least several hours. You can also throw them in the freezer overnight. I'm going to take a whole 24 ounces of almond bark. I like using the white chocolate one. My husband loves using like the milk chocolate one, so definitely whatever your preference is. And then I'm going to get some parchment paper and just line my table with some parchment paper, because we're going to be dipping all of these little Oreo balls into the chocolate, and they should be frozen. You really want to make sure that these are frozen. It's just going to make it easier to work with. So I'm just going to grab each ball one by one, and using a fork, you could probably use a toothpick as well. And you're just going to dip it into your chocolate, and you're just going to put it on the parchment paper, and it doesn't take long for it to harden at all, like maybe 30 seconds. So if you're wanting to put sprinkles or any type of topping on these, you really have to do it right away, because as you can see here, it just did not stick as I'm putting the sprinkles on. So it really has to be immediate. I loved making this with my kids. My kids helped make most of these. I just dipped them in chocolate, and then they did like the sprinkles. So we did sprinkles on some. You can even do like an Oreo topping on another. I did some peppermint on some as well. So it's just really what your preference is. I think the sprinkles are so cute. And you can even take like some milk chocolate and put like a little bit of a drizzle on top of it. It would make it look a little bit pretty as well. This is something that I make every single year because my family absolutely love these. We have to make them every year. They're so good. Up next are some lemon bars. So we're going to need a cake mix. You don't have to use the lemon cake mix. You can use just like a white cake mix or a yellow cake mix, but I had this lemon one, and we're making lemon bars, so I said why not make it extra lemony. And then I'm going to use this whole stick of butter, and make sure it is softened before putting it into our bowl, because that's just going to make it easier to stir through. If it's hard, it's just going to take forever to get that stirred through, so you really want to make sure that that is nice and softened. And you're just going to stir this together until the mixture is well combined and that the mixture is a little bit on the crumbly side. So to a 9x13 pan, I'm going to go ahead and lightly spray it, because I don't want the crust that we had already made to stick to the bottom of it. So what I'm going to be doing is taking out half of a cup of this mixture, and then the rest we're going to put at the very bottom of this 9x13 pan. And I'm just going to kind of smush it down, make it into basically like a crust. It has that butter in there, so when it's done cooking, it's going to be more of like a cake-like crust. So it kind of just seems like pretty powdery right now, but just trust the process. It's completely normal. And then I'm going to take this lemon cream like pie filling, and we're just going to put that right on top. And I have to be like super careful because it's, you know, very wiggly, and it just won't really stay where I want it to stay. So I have to just take my time, smooth this out the best that I can, because I don't want it to take up any of that cake mix, because the cake mix is still pretty powdery. So you just kind of have to take your time and to smooth it out the best that you can. So that's what you see me doing here. Okay, and now that my lemon is the way that I want it, I'm going to take that half a cup of cake mix that we set aside, and we're just going to put that right on top. You want to make sure that this is a nice even layer right on top. And this is going to be like a crumble right on top. You're going to bake this in the oven for about 35 minutes at 350 degrees. This is what it looks like. It was really good. I personally don't make a lot of lemon stuff. My husband loves lemon stuff, so he really enjoyed this. He said it was like a perfect mixture. It wasn't like overwhelming with the lemon cake mix. So if you wanted to do white cake mix or the lemon one, either one is going to be fantastic. I did go ahead and powder this with some powdered sugar, and then I got it everywhere because that's just how I do it in my kitchen, you guys. And it was still a little bit on the warm side, so I couldn't really pick it up very well, but with a fork, it was delicious. It was perfect. The crust was absolutely perfect. It was just lightly golden brown on the bottom. Absolutely delicious. My kids loved it. I loved it. Up next, we're going to be making some cake mix cookies. These are very, very simple. I'm just going to use a chocolate cake mix, and we're going to go ahead and put that at the very bottom of the bowl. And then I need 2/3 a cup of oil and 2 eggs, and we're just going to mix that together until well combined. And something that I normally do, but I did not have on hand, is I would have actually used melted butter instead of the oil. I just think that butter works just a lot better, and I think it's a lot healthier for you than vegetable oil or canola oil. So, and my cookies ended up being a little bit on the runny side, I guess you could say. They just didn't set up right. So I would definitely change that if I were to do this over again. I mean, I've made box cake mix cookies before, but I've never used the vegetable oil, so I'm very positive that's what it was. And then I added 9 ounces of M&Ms. You could do like the mini M&Ms or regular. I just use like some red and green ones. And then I place them on my cookie sheet pan, and I'm just kind of fixing them to be how I want them to be. And then I cook these in the oven at 350 for about 8 minutes, and this is what it looked like after they're all done. And they were pretty good. They weren't like my favorite just because of how they turned out. They just seemed to flatten more than kind of stand up. So I definitely like them when they're a little bit more on the thick side. Up next, we're going to be making some blueberry cobbler, which is one of my go-to recipes when it comes to Christmas time. I love making a cobbler from a cake mix. It's so good and so easy. So to a 9x13 pan, I'm just going to lightly grease it, and then I'm just going to put 2 bags of blueberries, which are 2 16-ounce bags of blueberries. And what's different here that I did is that I didn't actually add anything. Sometimes I'll do like a lemon juice, or I'll put like a little bit of cornstarch or flour, or just like a little bit of sugar, but I didn't. I just used this cake mix, and it was perfectly fine. It was pretty sweet. It's not going to be as sweet as it would be. I kind of like things on the sweeter side, so if you guys like things on the sweeter side, then you can definitely add like a little bit of like a lemon zest and some sugar to your blueberries. I'm going to take our 1 stick of melted butter and go ahead and put that right on top of our cake mix. And then I'm going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees for 55 to 75 minutes. Kind of just depends. I was trying forever to get my top of my cake mix nice and golden brown, but it was just not getting brown. So then I wanted to broil it for 30 seconds to a minute, and then I totally forgot about it, and then I ended up burning the top of it, but thankfully it still tasted just fine. Yeah, I was just so sad that I burnt the top of it. I was so upset with myself. This would be amazing with some vanilla ice cream. I did not have any on hand. I was so bummed by it, but this is what it looks like, you guys. It's so good. You could not go wrong with fruit on the bottom and a cake mix on top. Making cobblers that way is so good, so delicious. I love a good cobbler. Up next, we're going to be making this hot cocoa dip. And so to a medium bowl, I'm going to need 1 block of cream cheese. And I'm just going to put that at the very bottom of my bowl. And then I'm going to go ahead and give this a good mix. You definitely want to mix this first before doing anything else. And then once that is well mixed through, you think it's nice and creamy, like a really good fluffy texture, you're going to go ahead and add 4 packets of hot cocoa mix, or you're going to add 5.5 ounces of hot cocoa mix. I usually do I have like a big thing of hot cocoa powder in my house. So that's what I did, is just like the hot cocoa powder instead of the packets. I have 4 kids, so of course we go through a lot of hot cocoa in the wintertime. And then I'm going to need 4 ounces of Cool Whip. I'm just going to put that right into our bowl. Once you have given that hot cocoa like a really good mix, that's going to take several minutes because yeah, it's pretty thick stuff. So it's going to take just a minute to get all that mixed through. And then once we have our Cool Whip in there, we're just going to fold that in. You really don't want to like mix it together, because you want this to be like nice and light and fluffy. And in order to get that fluffy texture, you're going to have to fold it in. So it's definitely going to take a while as well. So you just keep mixing, keep folding, and it will eventually all get stirred through. And then I just put this in like a smaller bowl just to make it look a little bit prettier. And it's a little bit easier when you're dipping all of your crackers and Teddy Grahams and stuff like that in it. I just find it a little bit easier for me and for the kids. And then I like to top it with some marshmallows, some mini marshmallows, and some sprinkles. You got to get those festive sprinkles in there. And then I just use some graham crackers, because I always have graham crackers on hand. And this is what it looks like. It was so good. I loved the texture of it. I thought it was really like a beautiful texture with the creaminess, with the cream cheese, and the hot cocoa. You can definitely taste, it just definitely tastes like a hot cocoa. I have tons of other videos just like this on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss my next video. Thanks so much for watching, y'all, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.